But he shot Ray first. Shot him in the head in an attempt to kill. You don't shoot people in the head unless you want to kill them. And in front of Anna. That was deliberate. He wanted her to see it. Very cool. He took photos immediately afterwards. Who does that?
A former TikTok star finally faces his fate after being convicted of gunning down his estranged wife and her friend, execution style.
My response in that moment was an unintended, impulsive reaction against my better judgment to the discovery of Ray's romantic involvement with my wife. And for that, I'm sorry.
Ali Abulaban, who was known online by the username JinKid, was convicted in May of this year on 2 counts of first-degree murder for the 2021 shooting deaths of his estranged wife Anna and her friend Rayburn Barron. While his social media persona was that of a jokester and doting husband, prosecutors, his persona was the complete opposite of who he really is. As they say, Abulaban was a jealous, controlling, and abusive husband.
Your little girlfriends wish they had a guy like me. They wish they had a guy like me. They don't even have fathers for their kids. Even Julia said, "You're such a good fucking person to my daughter. I am fucking the best man you ever met. You're the dumbest I ever devoted my life to. You are the dumbest. I wish we never had a kid together because of how fucking stupid you are. You put Julia and her kid before our own daughter. You put Claire. You put everybody. You put that tranny before our own daughter. You put her before your husband. You are so. You are so dumb. You're choosing sides with people who don't give two about you. They will not be there for you. Enjoy your little ball boyfriend. Enjoy your little JB Wyman. Enjoy your little exes. Oh. You're my woman. I brought you to this time. You should be sucking my kissing my feet. Ungrateful.
At the time of the murders, Ali and Anna were separated. Ali was living in a hotel about 15 minutes away from his once shared luxury high-rise apartment with Anna. And according to prosecutors, he became so jealous and paranoid about Anna that he installed a listening app on their daughter's iPad in hopes to catch Anna with another man. Ali testified during his trial and admitted once he heard through the listening device that Anna and Ray were together in her apartment, it sent him into a rage. So he sped over to the apartment, firing off 6 separate shots into Anna and Ray's heads.
My gun was in my hand, and next thing I'm shooting, and I can't stop. I'm just shooting, and I'm even startled. It's like I'm watching it happen. I'm like I'm in the passenger seat of my own body. I can't stop it. I hear Anna screaming and crying. I don't even remember shooting Anna. I just remember running back to the front door, and I grabbed the door handle, and then it hit me. I'm like, did that just happen?
The trial culminated with Anna and Ray's loved ones cheering after he was convicted.
We, the jury in the above entitled cause, find the defendant, Ali Nasser Abulaban, guilty of the crime of murder in the first degree.
Fast forward to September when Abulaban faced sentencing, his defense attorney tried to motion for a new trial.
This was something that we had addressed at the court and counseled during trial as it happened right after, or right during, I should say, Mr. Abulaban's testimony. The court at that time asked us to return the following day with a transcript from Mr. Brian Edwards' phone calls to his family members, which was the subject of the questionable conduct by the prosecutor that we believe rises to the level of prosecutorial misconduct.
When the state argued their position on the case, Abulaban swore at the prosecutor, prompting the judge to step in.
The defendant, his response was certainly showing consciousness of guilt. When I asked him, did you ever brag to Mr. Edwards? His response should have just been no. If he really never had a conversation with Brian Edwards or any inmate in jail about the killings, his response would have just been no. That was not his response. He had an outburst. He told me, is this some kind of jail informant that you're asking me about? That shows his guilt in the fact that he knows he made these statements to inmates in jail. And so it's perfectly reasonable for me to ask those questions.
All right, let me make something clear right now. If there is any disturbance, you will be put outside. All right? That happens only once. It's happened now. It will not happen again. And that includes you, Mr. Baldwin. I don't want... Thank you.
The judge would ultimately deny the defense's motion for a new trial. So next were victim impact statements. Abulaban's former sister-in-law was up first. While visibly emotional, as she was about to read her statement before the court, she got into a screaming match with him as she faced her sister's killer.
What my mom did to you? What Mama did to you? My mom did you what? Sorry, Your Honor. What did you do to you? You didn't do anything to you. You know Anna Marie's not gonna go cheat.
All right.
If you didn't cheat first.
All right. Ma'am, if you're not going to be able to control yourself, sir, I'm going to have to excuse you. Mr. Abulaban, again, please.
Make me sick. Your Honor, my name is Hermes Harden. And I want to share the court the devastating impact the loss of my sister Anna Marie has had on our lives. My sister was a gentle, loving, sweet, young woman whose absence has left a hole in my heart that can never be filled. This man has taken her life and also shattered the hearts and lives of so many loved Anna Marie. Anna Marie was not only my sister, but also one of my best friends. Our childhood was filled with laughter, love, and countless moments of joy. My favorite memories with my sister were of us growing up together. Her beautiful smile and laughter always made us happy. As we grew up, I can remember so many fun times when our family would get together because her presence was, I can remember so fun times when our family would get together because our presence was always so uplifting. She always thought of others first before she would take care of herself. She was always very uplifting to those around her. She had such a gentle spirit, kind, and could easily find joy in the simplest of things. She brought joy and happiness to all those around her. And until now, I still have a hard time knowing my sister is gone. No more calls, birthdays, Christmas. My sister was the most loving, patient, gentle, and forgiving person. And this person took her away from us. He was the one who was supposed to protect his wife and a child, but instead, he made them scared and even terrified of him. Throughout the trial, he pretended to be surprised that Anna Marie wanted to leave him. As you can see, my sister tried so hard to forgive him and have him so many chances and covered all his abuse and lies. She did not even tell me about the abuse just to protect him. But he took advantage of her and kept abusing her anyways. But he lived at our families when he lived at the family house and also on the phone. He talked like an angel and promised he will never hurt my sister. And Ali, if I had known what my sister had been through with all that abuse, if I had known, I would have flown again to see her and do my best to take her and Amira away from you.
She said every family gathering feels empty without Anna, and the trauma of losing her sister is something they'll carry forever.
No sentence can ever bring my sister back to us. But we hope that justice will be served and that the person responsible for the highest crime will be held accountable. We hope that through this statement you can understand the depth of our loss and lasting impact it has had on our lives. For me, the death penalty is what this man deserved. He has no more place on this earth, but I would agree with what my parents say, a life sentence without parole. Thank you for allowing our family to have a voice and for considering the profound impact this loss has had on our family.
Rayburn Barron's sister also gave an emotional victim impact statement. In front of the judge and visibly shaking, she explained her brother didn't deserve to leave the earth in such a horrific manner.
He had a beautiful soul, and this is why I know he is resting in peace. But losing him has left me feeling empty and with a lot of emotional damage. I lost my baby brother and my best friend. The way he had to leave this earth is not something that he deserved. He was a kind and loving person. He deserved a chance in this life. He always wanted to be a father and have a family and live a happy life. And all of that was robbed from him. What the defendant has done with this horrible crime has destroyed our family. Our holidays will never be the same because we are missing a big part of it. This grief and sadness will never be the same because we are missing a big part of it. Okay. Because we are never going to be able to hug our brother on Christmas, on New Year's, or on his birthday. I know how much he loved being with all of his family on all holidays. He never missed a family gathering. So I'm here today to ask for justice for my brother Ray, for Anna, and for my mom, who has to suffer the rest of her life knowing that her youngest son and her baby was taken from her in such a violent way. And that is something that no mother should ever have to go through. The defendant deserves to pay for this horrible crime with the highest sentence possible. He has destroyed many lives, and victims deserve justice.
Rayburn's other sister also revealed their family's struggles with knowing how gruesomely he was taken away from them.
It has been almost 3 years since our loved ones were taken away from us, and we have not been able to have closure waiting for this trial. Just when we feel it's possible to move on and have peace of mind after the verdict, we hear about the intentions of the defendant to ask for even more time in a new trial. Ali Abulaban not only took the lives of 2 good people, but he also took part of everyone's life that knew Ray and Anna. He did not give Ray or Anna any time to defend themselves or a chance to continue their lives. He does not deserve any more consideration or compassion. That's why we ask with all our hearts that you consider our pain and suffering and deny any further requests from him. Please give us all the justice we deserve so we can finally start healing and find peace in our hearts. Thank you.
The final victim impact statement came from Anna's father, who appeared virtually. During his statement, he blatantly said he wanted Abulaban to rot in prison.
I would love to see a sentence of life in prison without parole. This is what this guy needs. I don't consider him a man. A man would not do this. But I hope he gets life in prison without parole. I want him to rot in prison for what he done to my daughter. She was a beautiful, loving woman. He done everything for everybody else, always putting herself flat.
The state argued Abulaban should be sentenced to consecutive life sentences.
This crime involved great violence, it involved death, it involved the use of a firearm, it involved 2 vulnerable victims who were unarmed. The defendant took advantage of a position of trust, using a key card to enter an apartment he no longer was living in. These were planned crimes, planned executions, not heat of passion crimes. And the defendant has shown that he has exhibited violent conduct, proving he's a danger to society. So for all of the aggravating factors here, I would ask the court not only not to strike any enhancements, but to give the defendant a sentence of consecutive LWOP terms.
Under the law, Abulaban will have no choice but to be sentenced to life without parole. But the defense argued his double life sentences should run concurrently.
I would also ask the court to strike the punishment on the 12022.53D. I don't think that there is any justification for imposing an additional 25 to life on each count, given that Mr. Abulaban, based on what is the anticipated sentence, will spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of parole. And we are asking the court to make this tough decision, but the just decision and the right decision in sentencing Mr. Abulaban. Thank you.
The judge then gave Ali Abulaban the chance to give his own statement, as he claimed to be sorry for what he did and apologized to Anna and Rayburn's families.
If you want to make a statement, this is the time.
Your Honor, I have something written.
Okay.
May I face?
Sure.
Good morning, everyone. In a situation like this, there really isn't much a person could say that could help make things better. Losing a loved one to senseless and unnecessary violence isn't something that anyone should have to go through. And yet, it has happened. And here I am being the reason why multiple families have had to experience it. I can't say that I'm proud of that. Throughout this trial, many horrific things were displayed. And as we sat here for weeks having to endure some of the most disturbing audio recordings and video footage, I sat there in silence, listening, watching, and being reminded of the worst moments of my life. Having to hear myself say some of the most vile, shocking, and hateful things to the woman I love was not easy. In fact, I couldn't help but at times close my eyes and cover my ears, because that's not who I am. My behavior was disgusting and completely unacceptable. So when the time came for me to take the stand, I tried as best as I could to help make some sense of all this. To explain that everything you all saw in the last few months leading up to this incident was a horrific result of the tragic downfall to a once beautiful relationship. But even so, in those 3 days that I took the stand, I was able to share and say a lot of things, except the one thing I wanted to say the most. I am so incredibly sorry to each and every one of you who have been affected by this. I cannot imagine the pain that I've caused your family. I saw the look on all your faces and the tears in your eyes, and I hate that I'm the reason for it.
He then blamed his drug addiction for his state of mind, leading up to Anna and Rayburn's gruesome murders.
On that day of October 21st, 2021, I was in the worst physical and mental state of my life. I was sick, suffering from an untreated severe mental illness that was combined with a crippling drug addiction, which put me in a state of a drug-induced psychosis. My response in that moment was an unintended, impulsive reaction against my better judgment to the discovery of Ray's romantic involvement with my wife. And for that, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that in that moment I was not mentally strong enough to control myself. I'm sorry that my horrendous action that day resulted in the undeserved deaths of Rayburn Barone and Anna Marie Abulaban. My partner, my best friend, the mother of my daughter, and the love of my life. I am ashamed of what took place. I am devastated by the damage that I've caused to Anna's family, to Ray's family, and to my family. If I could undo all of this, I wouldn't hesitate. If I could go back to that day, I would have left for LA first thing in the morning as I had originally planned. I would have given Anna the space she wanted, and I would have used that time to focus on getting the proper help I so desperately needed. And I would get on my knees and beg Anna for forgiveness. Forgiveness for becoming distracted, for letting my anxiety and my insecurities affect my thoughts and my behavior towards Anna and towards her friends. Forgiveness for using cocaine as a remedy and becoming addicted because of it. for neglecting my responsibilities to you, Anna, as your husband, and my responsibilities as a father, and for allowing the drugs to turn me into a pathetic empty shell of the man that she fell in love with. Because of those factors, I lost myself. And because of those factors, I lost Anna. I am so deeply sorry to each and every one of you who have suffered for the last 3 years. To the Cardenas Marron family, to Ray's mother and father, I am so sorry for what I've done to your son. To Jordana and his siblings, I am so sorry for what I've done to your brother. I really wish I could have gotten to know Ray the way that you all do, the way his friends did. And now, after seeing just how consistently you all showed up to this trial in support of him, I have no doubt in my mind that Ray was a good person. The world has truly suffered a great loss, and for that, I'm terribly sorry. I wish this never happened. To Anna Marie's family, whom I still love and consider to be my family, there's so much I want to say. To Anna's mother, Amalia, and to Ron, you trusted me to protect your daughter, and I failed you. I wish there was something more I could offer besides an apology. I wish there was a way for me to fix this. I'm so truly sorry for what I've done to Anna, her parents, her siblings, aunts, and her uncles. I feel terrible. Anna was the most beautiful woman I've ever met, and I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. To love and cherish her, never to hurt her, to build her up, not to break her down. But I failed. I am thankful, however, that Anna and I were able to have a child, a granddaughter for both of our families to rejoice with. It is my belief that the love and spirit that Anna radiated will continue on through her. To Amira, my beloved daughter. Amira, when you're old enough to see this, please don't blame yourself. None of this is your fault. Your mom loved you so much, and I love you so much. You are the strongest girl I have ever known, and I'm so proud to be your father. I'm sorry for what my foolish actions have costed you, from what's been taken from you. I'm sorry that now you not only have to grow up without your mother, but now you have to grow up without your father too. I'm ashamed. But that is why I will strive each and every day to better myself, to seek rehabilitation, and to hopefully one day come back home to you. Because not being a part of your daily life tears me apart.
He wrapped up his statement by saying the jury got the case wrong, that it was actually a crime of passion and not a cold-blooded, premeditated murder.
To the Honorable Judge Frazier, I want to thank you for being extremely fair to me throughout this trial and for giving me the opportunity to defend myself. It is truly unfortunate that despite the compelling evidence that this was a crime of passion, somehow the jury still landed on this verdict, and they certainly wasted no time in doing so. The fact that I spent more time on the stand than the jury took to deliberate my fate is very concerning. In fact, the jury foreman himself told Fox 5 News reporters that a few of the jurors wanted to pick second degree, but were pressured not to by the rest of the jury. I think that speaks for itself, loud and clear, that reasonable doubt was intentionally overlooked, and that justice was not the motivating factor behind their decision. It was vengeance. And now I am left with no other option but to spend the rest of my life in prison. Death by incarceration. A very slow and drawn-out death sentence. That means that 50 years from now, should I still be alive, I would still not be considered for release. I don't think that's fair at all. Especially after it has been made clear that drugs and alcohol were involved. And add that to along with infidelity and mental illness, and you've got a recipe for disaster. One that anyone could fall into. It's happened to me and I still can't believe it. Being sent to prison without the hope of ever getting out honestly feels like I'm being sent to hell. And that's terrifying. And I don't think that's right either. Personally, I believe everyone should have the ability to parole because everyone has the ability to change. But nonetheless, even still, it is my goal to serve my time with the utmost outstanding conduct and to participate in every rehabilitative program while being a positive role model to other prisoners. And I will do all this to the best of my ability with the goal of one day safely transitioning back into society. And finally, to everyone else, I extend my deepest apology from the bottom of my heart. I'm sorry. I wish you all peace, healing, love, and abundant joy in your future. I will continue to pray that I may earn your forgiveness. Thank you.
All right.
When it came time for the judge to hand down his decision, he made it clear, even if Abulaban had the opportunity for probation, the judge wouldn't grant it.
The jury heard all of the evidence. The jury evaluated all of the evidence. The jury came back with a first-degree verdict, which was the correct verdict. It was a verdict that, when you look at the totality of all that happened during this particular crime, it's the only verdict a reasonable person could come up with. And considering all the evidence, and I'll just hit a few high points that I think, honestly, the jury was looking at. The defendant's text message to his cousin about killing. Defendant's controlling, demeaning behavior. When he said just a few minutes ago, he wants us to know who he is, that's who he is. It's very clear from the videos. His driving over to the apartment with a loaded gun. The fact that the victims were helpless, completely taken by surprise. The planning of a listening device. Firing within seconds of entering the apartment, clearly showing an intent to kill, not heat of passion. Willful, deliberate, premeditated, cold-blooded murder. And something that is hard to explain, Ray was not involved in their problems at all. But he shot Ray first. Shot him in the head in an attempt to kill. You don't shoot people in the head unless you want to kill them. And in front of Anna. That was deliberate. He wanted her to see it. Very cruel. He took photos immediately afterwards. Who does that? He calls his mother. He had 3 days on the stand to explain his actions. He explained them. And the jurors came up again with the only reasonable verdict, which is a first-degree verdict. They also found, because there was 2 deaths, that this was multiple murder under Penal Code Section 190.2A3. The next thing this court has to consider is the gun enhancements. In the state of California, the legislature has both slowly and quickly changed certain enhancements, and the court is obligated to look at reducing certain enhancements, including those that require or have a 20-plus year addition to the sentence. And again, I look at both mitigating and aggravating factors. Of course, it goes without saying this crime involved great violence. It involved a firearm. It involved all the vulnerable victims who, again, had no time to react, no time to defend themselves. It involved planning. I don't think you could say it was sophistication or professionalism, but it certainly involved planning. When you load a gun, arm yourself with a gun, drive 10 or 15 minutes to an apartment complex. As we saw on video, his demeanor going up the elevator, his demeanor going down the elevator, that showed planning. And obviously he took advantage of a position of trust. There's clearly that she didn't know he had a key, but he took advantage of that.
The judge didn't hold back in saying Abulaban's performance on the stand during his trial was essentially that, a performance, before then handing down his fate.
I've watched him here during all of this time. He's a very talented actor. He is a very talented actor. When I saw the Scarface videos, it's as if when he committed these crimes, he became that persona of Scarface, of just the cold-blooded killing without remorse. Any tears that he's cried in this courtroom have been for himself. They are not for Ray and Anna. It's just, that's the reality. He fears the consequences, as he should, of his actions. But as he sits here today, I don't know if he's really sorry. I have serious reservations about it. I know he's sorry about the consequences of going to prison for the rest of his life. But I can't say that I think he's sorry for having killed these two innocent human beings. He's a very selfish person, as I think the jury saw. That was something that his character kind of came through, and we ask, who is Ali Abulaban? That's who he is. He's somebody that is only thinking about himself, and the idea of killing two innocent people doesn't disturb him. It's chilling. So the bottom line here is he will die in prison. He will never be a free man. He will take his last breath there. Please, in this matter, the defendant on count 1 will be sentenced to life without the possibility of probation via Penal Code Section 1190.2, Parent A, Parent 3. Consecutive to that will be 25 years to life on the gun enhancement under Penal Code Section 12022.53D. Consecutive to count 1 will be count 2, which will be life without the possibility of parole, Penal Code Section 190.2, Parent A 3. Consecutive to that will be the gun enhancement of 25 to life under Penal Code Section 12022.53D. Total prison term, 50 years to life plus LWOP, life without the possibility of parole.
In addition to his life without parole sentence, Ali Abulaban was also ordered to pay a restitution of more than $10,000. Reporting for Law and Crime, I'm Elizabeth Milner.